What's up, guys? It's Wick. Uh, New video. I just wanted to revisit one of my older videos on server war. Server war's changed. I used to consider server war just practice. They never really gave you anything really of substance to win with. They changed it up like a year ago to give you a little bit of Blood of Ares. If you're going for a historic city, they gave you some of those valor points to help you with it's worth about, I think it was worth about 200, maybe $300 worth of purchases to help you with the historic city win. But if you're not going for them, it really wasn't a transformative amount. So I used to really not be that totally into server war, especially considering it can suck up a whole weekend. Now they've changed it. Now they have Senate unlocks that you get from it. They have skin unlocks. Before I used to say it during server war, people would be like all into it. And I'm like, well, if they give me a sub city or a buff something for it, I might be more interested. Well, they said I guess they listened, and they've actually given out skins for your keep wenches for them. To get buffs, you need to unlock with server war performance. I think once everybody unlocks them, I think people lose interest in server war again. I think if they did like Battlefield where there's seasons and you get a keep or a sub or something out of it, I don't know, historic city clues even, I don't care, but they I think they've upped the game, but I don't think it's really a crazy good amount. But I wanted to revisit something that I did early on in terms of server points and server power for server war on the discordance video. Now Kat in my alliance, and I had to show you her name here, and I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it. She has that weird squiggly thing on there that reverses it and makes her name come up as blank. So that's who she is there. And again, if anybody else wants that, you can find her on the game and copy and paste it out of her name and make your name blank whenever you do a battle report. I don't know. Yeah, she's there. She did an incredible chart. She shared in my alliance chat yesterday. I wanted to share with you. Again, all props to her for doing this. But it's a point power chart in terms of a graphical representation in terms of which troops give off the least points in a ratio to the power they lose versus the most points. So the blue bars are the power, the light blue bars are your SVS points. And if you go on the green line, which is the one that's the most important here, again, more so many props to her. I don't. I would literally need like graph paper and a pen and a ruler to do this. I couldn't do this. I'm not computer savvy enough, as you can tell by my cheesy little tech videos made on my iPhone. But the green bars are the ones that are the most important. And what's really weird here is notice that trend, right? As you move down in level, peaking at T6 and 5 and 4, you get more points compared to the power. So if you look at that bottom line here on the graph and it says point per power, T6 peaks out at 1.67 points per power and T5 gets 1.66 points per power. T1 is one half of a point per power. T15, T16, 15, and 14, all less than T1s. So, in other words, what you want to really consider when you're building your armies for SVS and or building your keep as a defensive keep for SVS is that if someone can chew through your layers between really 10-ish or 9-ish down to 2, they're getting monster points per power that they take of yours. And I've seen people literally show off and be like, "Look, I freaking won." And they win a battle with somebody in SVS by like 30 million. And I'm looking at them like, "You just hit their mount, which consisted of mostly T15s and 14s, with your range, which consists of mostly 13s, 12s, and some 11s." Well, look at this graph and tell me something. Assuming that two armies hit each other and the power exchange was relatively equal, the blue bars, the dark blue bars, represent a mounted army build, and I'll do that in another video on how to build marches. And the light green graph represents a ranged build. So it's almost like you can end up positive with the hardest mismatch in the game, which is range versus mount, and still go negative in points just by the nature of the build. So be mindful when you're in SVS and someone's holding something with a mount army and you hit it with your ranged, you may go positive on points. But if you do follow the current build guidelines in terms of building range with a heavier lower layer, and you're hitting something that most people are going to build with a much bigger T15 14 layer, you may go positive on points. I mean, on power, but you're gonna go negative on points. So remember this again. Shout out to Kat for making this. It graphically represents in a beautiful way how important it is to understand the point power discordance of server war, and understand that you may even rally a keep with one troop type or another, particularly siege, right? When you hit a big siege or a T11 siege against somebody who's got, monster siege, you're going to go real negative. So be mindful of that. Again, I thought this was a great graphical representation to share with you guys. Shout out to Kat. If you have any questions, reach out. Thanks.